What part of reality hit you like a brick growing up? You have to decide what to eat every single day. When during a job interview that required my specific college degree, I was told that it paid minimum wage. How fast life really moves, especially once you have kids. That I was never going to just magically complete the journey and end up in some beautiful place and live happily ever after. That happiness was something I had to make myself feel, not something I magically gained. And that loving the idea of something is a harsh difference from actually living it. We only get one life to live, and it's a series of difficult decisions and challenging issues, but we have to enjoy it along the way before it's gone. I remember being so disillusioned when I found out that adults generally don't get summers off. My parents were both in education, so it never occurred to me. Still seems so unfair, tbh. That nothing and no one is permanent. You'll realize one day that you won't have your parents around anymore, and you'll have to get your crap together to get by and live comfortably. That I wouldn't automatically feel like an adult when I became one. I still feel like a teen who was left home alone just trying to keep crap together till my parents get back. Except they aren't coming back. I have no idea WTF I'm doing most of the time. It's like in over my head. And I know I'm an adult, but I don't feel like a real adult the way I saw adults when I was a child. Like, should I really be trusted to keep myself alive plus take care of a house and pets and pay bills and get insurance? No. I've been married over 10 years and I still think I'm a wife. Holy crap, WTF. First week at my first real office job. Bam, that's my life now. Shite. Doesn't matter how much you love someone. If they don't feel the same about you, even if they did for years, you can't change it, no matter how hard you try. How cruel and dumb people can be hits me multiple times a day. The concept of death. I was 16 when I had first experienced true loss. I had lost someone due to cancer, and I still have moments where I feel I'm not completely over it. There is no growing up. You stay the same person, only with less hair where you need them, and more of them where you don't. Also, a crapload of people use some kind of drugs. Inter-office politics. You have 3 choices. Play the game and make allies. Play the game and make enemies. Don't play the game and make enemies, but slower. That I'm not smart enough to have an easy life, and will probably work like a horse to keep a roof over my head and food on my table till I die. Electricity and cheese. That crap is expensive, yo. No one is there to give you a hug when you really need it. Realizing that my parents are actually quite dumb. There is absolutely no guarantee that things will turn out okay and I'll be successful. Working sucks the life spirit out of you. Cancer can happen to anyone at any age for no reason. I'm 30 and I recently got testicular cancer. However, it is highly treatable these days. I had to have my left nut removed and I'm now having chemotherapy, which is not particularly fun. But thankfully here in Australia, most of the costs are covered in the public hospital system. The sobering part, if this was the 1960s, I'd probably be dead soon. We are lucky to have modern medicine available to us. That being the sarcastic antisocial asshole that made you charming as a teen or 20 something just makes you avoided and disregarded as an adult. Then you realize it was never charming, and people were just being tolerant. Nobody wants to be around a full grown man who is learning how to be around people. If you want crap done right, then you have to do it yourself. That no phase of life is going to last forever, no matter how much it looks like it will. If you're in school, it probably seems like your whole world, and any future where you're not in school and you're an adult working a job and doing adult things just looks so far away and foreign. I remember when I packed up to go to a different city for college, I sat down in my room and looked around in those few minutes before my ride came, and it just hit me what I had yesterday, I'll never get back. All my little habits and routines are just gone for good. My everyday routine of watching cartoons in my room in the evening gone. Those lazy little walks along the river in my hometown every day gone. Our cats seeing me around the house and being used to me being around and sneaking them snacks gone. Saying hi to the neighbor on my way out of the house every day gone. It was such a bittersweet realization. Because you're headed into an exciting new future, and you'll make new routines, and meet new people, to say hi to every day on your way to new places and new chores, and you'll have new cats and new habits. But those things you used to have, that were really warm and comfortable and familiar and free of any worry or care in the world, those things are gone forever. No matter how hard you might want to cling to them and not let go. It turned out that I was right. I mean, of course I went home now and then and I saw our cats, and sometimes I'd catch cartoons on TV at the same time I used to every single day. But it wasn't the same, it wasn't my home base anymore. It was just a passing stop now. You can't be anything you want, and you can try your hardest and still fail spectacularly. Life isn't fair. Doesn't matter how hard you try or how good you are. Sometimes you just lose, and that's just the way life is. Lack of finding new friends tbh. School and university has you covered, but once you're in the working world, less time. Variance in age. That your parents were probably just as clueless about adulthood as you are. Everybody is just winging it. That no one gave a crap about me anymore. And that positive changes in my life were either going to get set in motion by my hand or not at all. I had a 2-year period between my freshman and sophomore year of college. And during that time my looks aged considerably. When I was a freshman I basically looked like a young kid. When I came back suddenly all my professors weren't giving me any slack. Same with other authority figures in my life. That's when I realized I had become an adult. When you're a kid people give you the benefit of the doubt. But just 2 years later I felt the same in terms of not knowing what I was doing, but everyone expected me to know my stuff. Kind of the reverse of most of the replies on this thread. I realized I was an adult when I thought about what the 100% best Christmas/birthday gift someone could give me was a new fresh pack of socks. At that moment, oh crap, I'm an adult now. That life is suffering. Everything has no meaning at all. And that I will die on this planet. Cheese is a freaking investment. You can have a strong support circle of friends and family, but ultimately you need to pick yourself up out the dirt and get on with it. Being unattractive sucks, and there's very little you can do about it. I can turn myself from a 3.5 to a 6.5 with effort, but goddamn people are freaking vain. This is kind of dumb, but I kept waiting to get larger breasts. I don't know why I assumed mine would get bigger, except I was friends with several girls who developed early and developed quite a bit. Around 14 or 15 I realized I was probably maximum doubt. Now I'm actually pretty dang happy with what I have. I don't need to wear eyebrows and they don't get in the way. I have unrelated back problems that would probably be worse with big breasts. How every job that pays worth a damn is going to monopolize 3/4 of my waking hours. That just doesn't seem right. Shouldn't all this automation reduce the length of a workday? Parents aren't some kind of infallible super beings. They frick things up too. Right up. That everyone is out to take your money any way they can. All day long you're barraged with ads to find new ways to get your money by selling you crap you don't need. You buy these things thinking you'll feel better, but eventually you realize it's a farce. I remember wondering why older relatives didn't have newer version of things like TVs and cell phones. Now I see they knew the truth. It won't make you happier, so just get what you need and ignore the rest. I assumed from TV shows that acne just goes away when puberty is over. Nope. Realizing that working 8-12 hours a day, 5 times a week is my reality until I'm very old. People often lie and have no qualms about it. Trust no one when it comes to your well-being. I bought a townhouse a couple of years ago and I don't regret it, but I've realized how expensive home ownership can be compared to renting. All the extra expenses that you can't pass on to a landlord. Just because you're nice and want to be friends doesn't mean the other person is nice and worthy of having friends. Sometimes people are assholes because they have emotional problems. And when people throw rocks at you, it's not because there's anything wrong with you, but with them. Being nice doesn't fix everything. As my dad said, sometimes you gotta freaking motherfucker up. When I was 16 and started feeling sad day in and day out and it wouldn't stop, I realized that depression can happen to anyone. You will have friends and enemies, and you'll never know if your enemies are your friends, and if your friends are your enemies. I remember my first job out of college. It was 60+ hours a week on my feet as a restaurant manager for Red Lobster. When things in college were hard, I'd think just 8 weeks left, etc. At work there was no end, and no summer vacation. It was crushing to realize there was no end, and no summer vacation. In personal finance there will always be random expenses that throw a wrench in your budget. It will rarely ever go exactly as you planned it. Nobody is going to fix your life for you. That no matter how unfair and unjust your situation is, debt, bad relationship, bad job, weight problems, nobody is going to fix that crap for you. So you either choose to live with it for the rest of your life, or you motherfucking change it yourself. It doesn't matter if your wife spent you into poverty, then took all your money in a divorce and saddled you with debt and alimony payments. That sucks. It's not fair. It also doesn't matter that it's not fair. You need to fix it, because nobody will fix it for you. That goes for everything unfair and unjust in your life that you lament and don't fix. It doesn't matter that it's not fair. Fix it or live with it forever. Nobody will do it for you. The good news is that you can fix any problem if you work at it. The key to fixing every single problem in your life is to stare it straight in the face and tell it that you are going to freaking destroy it. The fact that responsibility eats into more and more of my free time. Like, sure, I can choose to not be responsible. Then I go insane with all the cleaning and crap that has to be done before I can relax. More recently as an adult, why people stay in relationships even though they are unhappy, or they know they don't quite connect with that person. That revelation hit me like a train. I just graduated from university with a huge amount of student debt. Despite that, I was optimistic about my prospects and had a bunch of interviews lined up the next week. I was walking down the street past a construction site to grab a coffee when I suddenly collapsed in the middle of the sidewalk, having been hit by a falling brick. When I realized I make more money than my mom, and I don't really make that much. Sorry for always thinking money grew on trees, mom. Santa. That we don't matter and nothing really matters. When we will die, the only thing that will happen is that I will disappear, and it will be the same as when, before I was born, there was nothing. Life is just a cycle of being poor, working your way up, upgrading your life to the next level and repeat. That you never really grow up, you just have to start paying your own bills. Learning that my limbs wouldn't grow back if I ever lost one really shocked me. When I was 10, I was not a smart kid. The difference between how the world is presented and what it really is. No matter how much you love someone, they probably talk crap behind your back. Looks like most Redditors are incapable of being self-sufficient. That just because you share the same blood as someone doesn't mean you share a deep bond with them. The fact that my entire life is supposed to be dedicated to doing things I don't want to do, and if I don't do them, I literally starve to death. When people die, no one cares. The world just keeps on going without them, and they'll be forgotten and never have another page written in the story of their lives. Real friends are rare. If you put a bunch of money on credit cards, paying them off becomes a huge part of your monthly budget. My dad died shortly after I turned 19. Within 3 months my mom secretly moved out. She had been planning it for some time. Said she was going away for the weekend and never came back. Well, she would come back when we were at work to collect her belongings or whatever she took to sell. It was all hers, so there was no reason to be sneaky. The house was up for sale. The agent had me write a letter to the eyes explaining my mother left us and we had no way of contacting her. I learned real freaking fast how to hustle. Went from upper middle class in the suburbs to working 3 jobs and renting a trailer within 4 months. I loved it. Didn't depend on anyone but myself and got by just fine. My sister hired a pie to find our mom and he never found her. 4 years after leaving she sent me a birthday card. After 8 years I finally saw her. Reality is not having anyone to save you. Having no safety net. Doing it for yourself when you don't think you can. Also, Irish whiskey tastes worse coming up than going down. Mine would probs be something along the lines of how stupid some people can be. That the other adults around you didn't grow out of their childlike deficiencies, just like you didn't. I'm almost 40 and this realization is flooring me right now. My caveat, I'm not depressed, though I have been in the past. I got through it. However, depression and other mental conditions can be as incurable as cancer for some people. Some people just can't beat, grow past or live with their own demons. The entertainment industry is filled with wildly successful people who are miserable and whom sometimes take their own lives. And if there are people that fail there, it's no surprise that an average person who suffers from, say, alcoholism or something can have that consume them. Many people learn to live with, manage or sometimes even overcome things, but that doesn't always happen. I've known for a long time that there isn't always a happy ending to every story, but seeing people that matter to me utterly consumed by something is very difficult. We don't live in a meritocracy. Relationships are often more important than competence. The pool of people who really, actually care for you and your well-being is so incredibly small that the world shows its real color. You see how cruel and dog-eat-dog it is. You hear of these things when you're younger. The regular things like money makes the world go round, etc. But it doesn't hit till you get hungry one day, or break down on the side of the road, and then it gets even worse. When those that you think care about you, well, just plain don't. That my parents wouldn't be around forever. My mom died when I was 18 and just the thought of losing my dad causes me existential stress. The literal value of money. I mean, I always knew money was important, but goddamn, life is like a pay-to-play game with all paid content. I love going on long hikes and treks because I don't have to pay to experience something so awesome. Frick money and frick the fact that I have to now work for the rest of my foreseeable future just to live life. You die at 25 and don't get buried until 70. Most of my existence will be experiencing my mind and body slowly falling apart and trying to do as much as I can to delay the process while I watch my loved ones deteriorate and pass away before my eyes. That being an adult doesn't automatically mean I know anything, and most of the time kids ask me questions I'm just pulling the answers out of my ass. That eventually I will die, and there's nothing I can do about it. A woman can say she loves you one day and dump you the next. Fascinating concept. Not everybody is going to like you, or even bother trying. Your cooking will never taste as good as your mom's. The only person who will always be there for you is yourself. Relationships are constant work. Happiness is a temporary emotion, not a state of being. Existence is fundamentally pointless. Not an adult yet, but I realized recently that my life is going nowhere and I'll probably be working a minimum wage job my whole life and living in a crappy neighborhood in a terrible studio apartment, at best. Mental illness. A dental bill. Aging parents. I feel like I went from needing my parents to my parents needing me in a heartbeat. I barely got to enjoy that time when you can enjoy a non-dependent relationship with your parents. That because I'm darker in color, it changes the way people view me. When I was a kid, I learned that property tax was a thing, and I had a mental breakdown because I knew it meant I'd always have to be earning money somehow to continue to survive for the rest of my life. The world does not give a frick about you. You can be a good person and still get hit with crapstorm after crapstorm like a domino effect of crappy life circumstances, even though you did freaking nothing to deserve it. If you love your job, you are underpaid. That we are taxed at around the 45-48% mark. Everything single thing in the government get 3-4 pieces of before I get it. But every time I turn around there's another screw you for working tax. There's not a tax problem. There's a spending problem. The lie you are told as a kid to follow your passions. Do the career you love. The wake up call was that passion. And being excellent at your dream job isn't guaranteed to pay the bills. Instead I have a worthless master degree and can't get more than minimum wage in multiple part-time jobs. Sometimes effort and passion isn't enough. What's more important is a stable job that pays the bills and allows you to enjoy life outside of work. There's no do-over. Every single day, every single moment, every single path, that opens up to you, they only come one time. That my dad is an imperfect being. At 12 years old, I got my first pubic hair. It blew me away because I wasn't ready to grow up. I shaved them off for 6 months until I got armpit hair and my voice changed. That's when I accepted the fact that it's a lost cause. Life changes considerably in your late 20s. Even though I'm single and childless, I can't seem to go out and do the things I used to. All of my friends are either married or have children. And the younger guys who aren't on the same spectrum as myself. Lots of days spent home alone in solitude dreaming of all the things I could do, but don't have the proper companionship to really enjoy. That I have to stay here in a country that I don't even belong in for 3 years after I finish studying the course of how freaking expensive it is to get a diploma. I just graduated from college. So recently I've been hit with the oh crap, you're in the real world now and everything you once dreamed of is right around the corner brick. Scared the absolute crap out of me and made me question my life in its entirety. Thankfully I moved past it and am now starting to thrive.